There are definitely a lot of things that we as Christian men struggle with. And this is obviously by the title that we this video is for Christian men. And I feel like there are three things that almost all Christian men struggle with. Things that all of us will come across one day and we will struggle with, because a lot of it is just we struggle with these things because of testosterone, different kinds of things that just spiritually attacking us as well. So there's three things that I really wanted to tackle because I really feels like they are the things that hit the hardest. So I know I'm not alone. I know there's other people out there, and I definitely feel like I've taken a lot of steps into getting out of a lot of these temptations, and I would like to just kind of share my own experience with these things. Okay, number one, and we're just going to get it out of the way, and that is lust and purity. I feel like every single Christian guy has struggled with this, and I feel like it's probably the number one struggle we have. We, especially in this culture that we're living in, we live in a culture that is filled with pornography. We go onto Instagram or TikTok and just a few scrolls and you start seeing half naked women, and you're just flooded with these temptations everywhere you go. It's even in just movies now, kids movies too, and it's being just pushed so hard for sex and lust. And with the Bible, we hear things in the Bibles. Matthew 5:27 through 30 says, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you that anyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body be sent to hell. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that you throw your whole body into hell." Now, obviously, this verse is not talking about literally gauging your eye out. No, that's not what it's saying at all. But we can take this into action by what is it that is making you struggle. With me, biggest thing for me was Instagram, and how I put that into action is I tore it out. I tore it out of my life. I deleted it, deleted my account. I have an old account that's not even up anymore, but I not only deleted the app, but I deleted my account, because I kept on deleting the app, but then I would re-download it and go back onto the account. How I got out of it is you don't even just want to take the half measure. Okay, I'll delete the app, and then someday, maybe in the future, I'll get back onto it. No, you want to just delete it out of your life completely. It could be some people that you're hanging out with. And this is the hardest one, I think, for a lot of people, is we can hang out with people that encourage these things. And as much as we are called to love somebody, sometimes the best way we can love somebody is by loving them from the side. And especially if they are causing you to fall into temptation, causing you to fall into lust, it is just time for you to step away from them and make those healthy boundaries of what you can do with these people. 1 Corinthians 6:18 talks about fleeing from our sexual immorality. It says to not fight our sexual impulses, but it is to flee from it. We are not called, it's the only sin, if you read in the Bible, you aren't supposed to fight lust. You are supposed to flee from it. You are supposed to get as far away from it as possible. Don't even let it touch your heart. Get away from it. So, just follow what Matthew 5 says. Tear that sin out of your life. Tear that app from your phone. Tear whatever it is that is keeping you in that lust, and tear it out of your life. I feel like struggle number 2. We're going to move on now. And this one was probably the one that I struggled with the most. Probably the one that I was struggled with the most was pride, or just self-reliance. A lot of when I was younger, I was just thought I could do everything by myself. I thought I could do anything I wanted, and I became very prideful, especially with my family, with my siblings. I confess that I used to think I was so much better than them. I thought that they were so below me, they couldn't even come close to my level. And with that, that is falling into the first sin. And a lot of times when I ask people what the first sin is, they get it wrong. The first sin was not Adam and Eve. The first sin was Satan's. Satan had so much pride that he decided that he was going to try and overthrow God on his throne. Obviously, he's not going to be able to do that. And so it was because of Satan's pride and thinking that he was better than God that he lost that his access to the kingdom of God, and he was brought down to here. So, what are some good ways to fight pride, right? I think probably the number one thing we can do is just surrender ourselves to God. Something that I have been doing lately. Because I will say I was in a very prideful season. I was in a season where I was thinking, okay, I'll make this fitness video 1 week, then the next week I'm going to record something for the gospel. And I thought that I could try and halfway it. I wanted to do this, but God wanted me to do this. We need to be dying to our desires. I think this is probably some of the most important words you can hear. Die to your desires. Don't allow yourself to continue chasing after all the things that you want. You need to surrender your will, your wants to God. If we want to truly follow God, He has the best plan for us. And if we surrender ourselves to God's plan, we surrender our hearts to Him, fall into what He wants us to do and walk it out in obedience, then He will bless us. And a lot of times we think, okay, but if I walk with God, I'm not going to be able to do this. If I walk with God, I'm not going to be able to become this famous musician. I'm not going to become this famous writer. That does not matter, because God's plan, God's will is so much better than anything you could think of. If I would to have continued making gaming videos for YouTube and got big off of it, made all the money in the world that I wanted to at the time, I would be nowhere near as happy as I am now. That is because I have peace with God, first and foremost, and I surrendered to God's will. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at all. But you need to humble yourself to God. The Bible doesn't say, because I feel like a lot of us, we pray to God. We're like, oh God, please humble me. If God were to humble us, it would be one of the most it'd probably be one of the hardest times of our lives. He asks us to humble ourselves. I think struggle number 3 is loneliness. I feel like men we separate ourselves from other people. That's something that I struggled with, especially when I was a lot younger and new to the faith, is I had closed my heart off so much that I was afraid to step out into this new person, this new creation that God made me. And I feel like we underestimate just how powerful brotherhood in the church is. Having these brothers that we can talk to when we're struggling, because we don't need to continue isolating ourselves when we struggle. We can talk with them. We can share our heart. We can share our desires with them. We want to talk about what God's doing in our lives. We can feel alone a lot of times, but when we are with this group of brothers, our lives are going to be completely changed. Not only are you having good friends, but you have somebody that's keeping accountability for you. They're keeping you accountable for your actions and what God is calling you to do. You share with them what's going on. So, how can we overcome this? If you don't have any friends at all right now, because that's how I started. I lived in this small mountain area. There were some guys in my church, but I didn't really want to talk to them. I was this shy kid, and I was just completely lonely. I did not have any friends. How can we start? Talk to them. If you're at church, just introduce yourself. Say, hey, my name's Savan. What's yours? When did you meet Christ? Have that conversation. Just allow it to feed off of that. We don't need to have every single thing in the conversation planned. A lot of times, the best way to have a conversation is just let it flow naturally. If something spikes your interest, question them on it. If something comes to your mind of a story of your own, share that with them. And also, you could just join a Bible study group. You could join the gym. You could go do fitness classes. Right now, I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm loving that, and I'm meeting new friends doing that. We want to be authentic with it. We don't want to try and go into this persona of ourselves, this fake version of ourselves, because I feel like that's a very dangerous thing to be doing, is going in pretending to be someone we're not, going in trying to win someone over. We should be completely and utterly authentic to who we are. If you don't feel comfortable trying something, don't try it. I feel like this is all stuff we have probably learned when we were younger, but I think it's so important that we just be authentic to who we are and who God is calling us to be, because God has made us unique in every way. So, I also want to share Proverbs 27:17, which says, "As iron sharpens iron, so man sharpens another." We sharpen one another with each other. By friends and brotherhood, we are sharpening one another for God's work. If you guys are struggling with any of these things, you're not alone either. God sees you, and He is not going to give up on you. You may feel alone right now, but Jesus is with you everywhere you go. Jesus is with you no matter what. So, I've been doing this in the past few videos because I truly want to connect with you guys as well. I know me just talking in this video, it's a lot harder to actually have that relationship, and I feel like relationship is so important for sharing the gospel. So if you guys want to reach out to me, my DMs are open on Instagram, and I'd be happy to talk with you about anything that you may be struggling with. And if this helped you, hit like so more people can find this and be able to share the gospel more to other people. Subscribe if you enjoy these types of videos following Jesus in this world, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Take care and goodbye.